Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's free class on Thursday. I'm going to show you some cute cards. One includes a bookmark. I thought it was really kind of cool for our kids going back to school. My name is Sue Sanders, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Missouri, and I welcome all of you. Tonight is a pre-recorded video because I have a Blue Star Mothers meeting, so I will not be home tonight at 7 o'clock. So this video will post at 7, and I will post out there a reminder to everybody that it will be going live at 7 for you guys. Here is our new September to December mini catalog. Many of you have already received this. If you don't have a current demonstrator and would like one of these catalogs, please drop me a comment below, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, and I will be happy to send you one of those catalogs. There is some fantastic product in here, just magnificent. And I'm also having a excuse me, Christmas card class using the One Horse Open Sleigh Suite. Excuse me. If you would like information on that, just drop me a comment, send me an email, and I'll be happy to send you the registration form for that. It's an all-inclusive class where you would be purchasing the entire suite of products and making 5 cards with that. I'm offering it in person in Jefferson City, Missouri, or online, where you will get the videos to give you directions on cutting your paper and stamping and making the cards. You will get all of the cardstock necessary, and if there's any extra die cuts that you might need for greetings or anything like that, you'll be getting all of that in your kit. Okay, so the registration deadline for that, for the online class, is September 1st, I believe. So let me know if you're interested in that. We're going to make some fantastic cards. I spent all day yesterday designing them and putting together my prototypes. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, last week, our cards, these were the cards that we made. So this is a thank you card, and then this was a Christmas card. We got to get into the Christmas spirit. And the name chosen for these cards is Julie Dilly. And Julie, you are in Kansas City. I know that, or the Kansas City area. So thank you very much for watching my YouTubes and Facebooks. And I will send those cards out to you, but I got to have you send me your email address through my email, SusieQsStamping@gmail.com. Okay, so a few weeks ago on one of my... It's not going to be on here, you're recording. Silly me, I thought I was watching myself live. I'm not. Oh, well, I'm used to doing them live and not recorded. Just because I'm just recording, leave comments. Please leave comments. Give me thumbs up on YouTube. That helps the analyticals as far as more people seeing me, finding me, and all of that stuff. So a few weeks ago, I had one of my customers during our coffee and chat, which, by the way, we're having one of those tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the morning, Central Daylight Time. Just log into YouTube or on my Facebook page, and we will just kind of talk about whatever. And if you have questions about Stampin' Up! Or questions about certain products or something that you would like to see demonstrated, that's the kind of things that we kind of chit-chat about, so that I kind of know from your perspective what you want to learn and what you want to do. But one of my customers had asked to what she could do with the scraps from her paper. Well, I was playing around this morning So one thing that you can do with your scraps, and this is from the Country Corners, but it's not Country Corners for the yes, and every time I do blue paper, it always gives me a funny color. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat, and it don't taste very good. So these are some bookmarks that I just kind of quickly put together this morning, and I just used random pieces of scraps. On this one here, I punched them all out of the double oval punch. So it's kind of hard for you to see whether, it's got the little scalloped edges to it, but I just kind of started out layering the different pieces, and if it went over the sides, it didn't matter because I cut it off. And then on the back, I just did a little greeting, trust in the Lord with all your heart, Proverbs 3:5. And then I used some of our Night of Navy edged ribbon and made a little tie on it. And then this one here, I did it just scraps across, stamped a little hello on a piece of white, and then kind of sponged it with my Night of Navy and put the same kind of ribbon. So that one, and then I embossed it with one of our embossing folders to give it some texture. So that's two of them. Then I thought, okay, I want to do a scrappy card today to show another way of how to use the scraps. So this is another bookmark that I made. And instead of doing it all the way down, I did two that were just the white, and these are all cut at a 1/2 inch. And I started placing them on an angle on a piece of boho blue. And then I stamped a greeting, and this was from the Waves of Inspiration, I think. Yes. And it says, our friendship is a thing of beauty. Well, I just masked off a thing of beauty and then stamped this, and then masked this and stamped a thing of beauty. And then out of our irresistible, no, it's not the irresistible. It's the, I can't remember what die set this is from. My mind is just kind of gone blank. Anyway, that little bookmark then slides right into a pocket that I used the stitched nested shaped dies, label dies. So this is the largest one. So I cut it out of the boho blue, and then I just stamped some flowers from the two-tone floral in Night of Navy and stamped off, and then stamped that. Then on the back, I added a piece of white cardstock, and I put the little girl, or not the little girl, the woman drinking coffee on the stairs from the, oh yes, Coffee with Friends. And then I just put thinking of you, let's get together soon. So this will fit into a business size envelope and mail it. So that's really cute. So we're going to do one of these type of cards today, but instead of for an adult, we're going to make it for a child or a teenager that's going back to school. So this is the Galaxy paper. And I thought how fun that it would be for, it can be either a girl or a boy. So what I did was I cut out a piece of basic white for my bookmark, or not my bookmark, my card. And that measures 3 3/8 by 8 1/4. No, 8 3/8. You can do this any size as long as it's fitting into a business size envelope, okay? And then my mat is 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. So there's just a very narrow border around our paper that's white, just to kind of make that Galaxy paper stand out. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do some stamping. And so on the back of our white card, we are going to stamp this little astronaut. And we're going to put him in Tahitian Tide, because Tahitian Tide is one of the colors that matches this Galaxy paper. because he's a pretty large stamp, I'm going to take my ink pad to the stamp. And then I'm going to just kind of put him on here at an angle, kind of like he's walking through the galaxy. So there is our man, our astronaut. It could be a woman, it could be a man. Now I'm going to take the lemon lime twist, and I'm going to put up here on the top, reach for the stars. And so I'm just going to stamp that at the top, which is going to be on the back of my bookmark card. And let's see, a lemon lime twist. I'm not quite done with it yet. Where did I put? There it is. Found my, oops. I want to clean off my astronaut. I kind of chose colors that it wouldn't matter whether it was a boy or girl that you were going to give this to. So be sure to make a comment in tonight's video so that you can have a chance to win this bookmark card. I'm going to now take some of these spots. They're just galaxy spots. And I am just going to randomly stick them. And I need my, and I'm going to do these both in Tahitian Tide and the lemon lime twist. I didn't want to get too pinky because boys don't do pink. Girls will do blue and green. Now we're going to take it and do our Tahitian Tide with it. So it's just kind of a decoration for the back of the card. And I don't want to go overboard, but I didn't get that one stamped too good, but that's okay. Because they probably won't even notice, right? All right, so that is completed. Wash that one off. All right, so that is ready to add to our designer series paper, which is the galaxy paper. So we're going to just attach that. You can do this with your favorite kind of adhesive. You could do it with the liquid glue or with the seal. And I use Seal Plus. It's really strong, so I don't have to worry about it coming off. And I think I want more of this galaxy showing, so I'm going to turn it this way, line it up, leaving me just that little area. So if you ever get your seal stuck down and you don't want it stuck there, give it some huffs. It's been so hot here in Missouri where I live that when I did this the other night, my granddaughter said you just added 5 degrees to the temperature of the room. I don't know if she was implying that I was full of hot air or what, but it just didn't lay down perfect for me. So I hope all of you are staying cool. We have had a heat wave the last 5 days to where the temperatures have gotten close to 100 degrees and the heat index has been well over 100. Why can I not get this centered out for me? There we go. All right. So there's our back. There's our front. Now what we're going to do is I have a whole bunch of scraps here that from making cards I Lost my 2-inch or my piece of white paper that I had here to do my, don't have any idea what happened to it. I'll just get another piece to make our bookmark. So I don't want a real wide bookmark, and I don't want as big a bookmark as maybe that I made for the adults. So I'm going to cut this down to 1 3/4. And this is another piece of scrap. So, and then I'm going to cut this down to about 5 3/8. I'm sorry, 5 3/4. I have eighths on my brain today. All right. To do some repair work here with some glue. My sticky stuff isn't sticking because I had to tear it up. So one thing I cannot stand is for my sides of my papers to start lifting. So I just take my glue with my precision tip point and I stick it back down. Put some, okay, my silicone mat, get that. So here's just a bunch of scraps that I cut up, and they're all in 1/2 inch wide, and they're different lengths, which is just fine. Here is a piece of white scrap, and I am going to do this right in the center of my card or my bookmark, and it says "You're stellar." So I am going to stamp this in that lemon lime twist. This is not one of my favorite colors. It's really bright for me, but kids love it. So we're going to just stamp "You're stellar" right in the center of that piece of basic white scrap. And that is going to go in the center of our bookmark. So to keep it kind of even, I'm going to put this down first. You don't have to do this. You can always, but because "You're stellar" just barely fits on there, I have to have my angle for my scraps. All right, so we're going to start out with up here, we're just going to put a scrap that kind of covers from corner to corner. And this is where I just used my seal adhesive, and I am just putting strips of seal right on the edges. And then I don't have to do each individual piece of paper. So let's do this one. And it's okay if it hangs off because we're going to trim it all up. I'm going to use my shorter ones first. And I'm just buttoning them up right next to each other so that they, you can't see the white. Let's put a green planet, partial planet here. So what has everybody been working on? Like I said, I worked yesterday all day doing the prototypes for the Christmas card class, and I am extremely excited about it. Okay, I'm going to have to move this one. No, we're just going to add another piece there. Let's do this because I got off. I should have started at this side. Should have started here. My bad. So we're going to just fix these. Butt that up against that. Carefully removing, because it does have that super strong Seal Plus on it. You can do this, you just have to be careful when you're removing that paper from the Seal Plus. And then sometimes you might have to add a little bit of more adhesive of glue or something just because you had pulled it up. But it's all good. I love this paper for kids, even teenagers. And if this rips too bad, I have plenty of scraps. Like I said, this isn't how I made my first ones. I started at the top and worked my way down, but then I decided that I wanted to put a little greeting in the center, so that's why I needed to start in the center. That one we can still use, so we'll put some adhesive. Use your silicone mat so that if you do go over, you can roll that sticky stuff because it doesn't stick to your silicone mat. Okay, that's not going to make a difference because we can always trim this down. My assistant's over here doing something and not paying attention. All right, so this one here needs to be glued down a little bit more. All right, I think now I want to go with this, which is another planet. See, have I done? Yes, I did. Couldn't remember if I had done a Thursday video once I got back from Arrow Rock or not. It has been such a busy summer. We were going over our calendar today, and it's not going to get any better between now and the end of the year, I can tell you that. I just want to make sure that my adhesive is on there good so that the paper doesn't pull up, since I am butting them up against each other. You could also do this where you could leave a gap in between your papers. That takes too much thinking for me today. I didn't want to do that much thinking, so. Let's see. Do we want to do another dark galaxy here? We'll do this one here, getting both of those colors on there. We'll do another blue star. What have we got left here? Let's do this one here. See, and that on the bottom there, that has a little bit of a gap, so we could definitely add just a little square or just a little triangle piece here, and I'm going to put that on with glue so that it does hold. And I'm just going to use that scrap that we had because it's going to get cut off and evened out. Okay, and this one up here, that's really too small. We're just going to trim off the top of it. So when you turn it over, this is what you have. And you want to take a pair of scissors, and I have a pair of sticky scissors. that I use just to cut things like this that have sticky on the back of them, so that my good scissors that I cut paper with or I cut ribbon with don't get all sticky, because they will get sticky. See, and now these, I could keep those scraps, but I'm not going to. Once I use a scrap, even if I have more scraps after I've trimmed things off, they go in the trash. Sometimes you just keep accumulating scraps and you don't need to. These here I'll keep because I could make another card like that, which is probably what I will do for my granddaughter. She started school and she is having to read more regular books. I call them regular books. Okay, so there we have our bookmark. Now we're going to take and we're going to trim off just that tiny corner so that it's not white. And I'm going to bring it up here and I'm just going to trim off just a tad. So I've kind of cut that white corner off of there. Oh, I think that is so cute. All those different planets. And because you're going to go through multiple pieces of paper, and I think because I didn't get this quite cut off, I am going to, what's the piece of paper that I had for my thing? Imagine that. I think that we are going to take and attach that to another piece of paper. And as you can see, this is a scrap. So we're just going to measure this. And so this measures at 1 3/4 by 5 and 5/8. So what did I say? 3 3/4 by 5 and what did I say it was? Help me out because I can't remember numbers for nothing.
All the numbers jumbled together.
I know they do. All right. This is 3 3/4. So I want this to be 3 3/4 because we're going to glue this right directly on the back. It also gives it a little bit more stability. And this one measures 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 5 and 5/8, not just 5/8. This way, it does look like the galaxy. And you're using up that pretty paper that you can't hoard forever. You can't hoard it forever, I'm telling you. You run out of room eventually, ladies. Okay, so now we're going to attach this, and I'm going to use glue so that it gives me some wiggle room. Wiggle room. I remember the show that used to be called The Wiggles. Who else remembers The Wiggles? It's a show my kids used to watch years and years ago. So I'm just going to cover that back piece of white with another piece of designer series paper, pressing that down really good. So now we have our bookmark, and I can trim up this top where I didn't quite get it. There we go. All right. Well, something got on my bookmark. Now, what in the world happened there? Let's see if I can get it erased. Yep. All right. Now, because you are punching a hole in the top for our little tassel ribbon or whatever, you want to, you have to use a heavy duty one, or I do anyway, because I don't have the strength in my arm or my hands to punch through 3 layers of paper. So I just use my big crocodile chop it. All right, so there is our hole somewhere around here. There it is. This is just some old baker's twine that I had. And so I'm just going to pull out a whole bunch of it here, because we're going to make kind of like a tassel. And this is discontinued, so it's no big deal. You could use whatever you want. I just didn't have any ribbon that I thought would be good for a kid or a teenager. I should say children, not a kid. They're not baby goats, as I was informed when I was little. Actually, I kept being called a kid, and I corrected my parents. I said, I am not a baby goat. They didn't find that funny, since I was getting upset with them because they were calling me kid. All right, so I have just kind of folded that all in half, and now we're going to put this through my hole, hopefully. I'm going to get my tweezers. Give me a bit of a hand here. Watch me wind up with a great big knot. Yeah, we'll get it. Just gotta have patience sometimes and not rush things, so that I get all of my loops in one area. Well, fiddles. Let's just start all over again and do this the right way. Is there really a right way? I don't know.
You're going to have a mess.
I am going to have a mess, but I'm a great knot remover. I used to get knots out of shoelaces all the time for little kids that thought they were tying a knot, and all they were doing was wrapping it around and tying it into a knot, and they weren't tying their shoes. So those of you that live at the lake like me, are you going to be staying at home this weekend, since we have the big shootout for the big boats that are going to be on the water? I personally don't look forward to them every year. These are big boats that are like cigar boats, I guess, and they race on the oceans, but they bring them down here to this lake. I mean, it's a very large lake, but even so, it's like, really? You have to go 200 miles an hour on this body of water and make wakes that are ruining people's docks and such. So I know that I'm not the only one that doesn't like. See, I got it almost out. It's a good thing my next card is a short card. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do this again. As soon as I get this tangle out. There we go. So I could have done this, I guess, on a piece of cardboard and made a tassel, but that would have been too easy, right, ladies? We don't do things that are easy. All right. Give that a good twist. See see if I can poke that down in through there, all of those at one time, because that was my problem before. There we go. They didn't all go in at the same time, so I didn't have all the loops. So now I have all of my loops. And of course, I put it in the wrong way, so it's not going to have the pretty knot on the front side, but that's okay. I don't think a child is going to notice. I'm going to try to pull each one of these so that it's tight. Because one of them is not tight. Which one are you? There we go. See, that should really be on the front, but not taking that out. And now all I have to do is take and cut our tassels. So now they have their bookmark. All right, the next step and the last step to the, well, the next step, it's not the last step. I use the stitch nested dies, and I use the very largest one. And I cut one out of the basic white, and I cut one out of the designer series paper. So all I'm going to do now, because I wanted the paper on the front of this, but the paper wouldn't have been heavy enough, so that's why I'm adding it to the basic white, because I wanted those planets. Oops. Yeah, this is the white. I almost thought, oh, no, I'm not supposed to be adding it to the whole thing, because you have to make a pocket out of this, but this is what I'm doing first. Get my silicone mat, lay this down, match these up the best you can. Okay, there we go. All right, so see, this is going to set right here on our card, and we are now going to use some double-sided tape, and we are only going to put tape on this side, and the bottom, because you want that opening at the top. You want that open so that your bookmark fits in it. So we're going to use this double-sided tape. And this is just, I love this card, or I love this idea of using these nested dies as a holder for a bookmark. Think of, I know people don't read real books anymore. They read them online or they listen to them, but you still have classroom books, I think. I don't know. But I could see, if you've got a friend that really likes to read a lot, making a slimline card like this and sending it to them with a bookmark. I think they would really like that. All right, so now that we have our sides all taped up, I'm going to burnish those really good. Then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to pick off the tape. And you could do other embellishments on the front of these cards if you wanted to. I mean, you could put a bow on the front of it. You could put some pearls or something. But since I have somebody in mind that I want to send this to, it's going to go through the mail. And so I didn't really want it to be any bulkier than necessary. All right, make sure that my back is right side. So here is our bookmark. holder, our pocket. There's that. And now here is the bookmark. It's going to go and slide right down in there. So, and if you want to, you could take and put, let's do that so that our fringe doesn't fall out. We're going to take and put some glue underneath there. I'm just going to lift it up a little bit with my tweezers. Put some glue there and then bring it back down so that it kind of holds it with that glue. Okay. And it gives you a place that you can sign it. You can write a little note on it if you want to. And there you go. You have a pocket bookmark holder that is made from scraps. All right, our next card is a really easy card, and I know that I've taught this at a class before, but since teaching it, I have gotten an idea from another demonstrator, Karen Titus. Her and her husband do Facebooks, and they are so funny and goofy sometimes. Okay, so this is the card that I started with, and these were scraps that I started, and I did this a couple days ago. And this is from the Earth and Texture, so I thought that could be a very nice masculine card or feminine card. Then I made this one this morning using the Cheerful Daisy paper. Now, I haven't put anything in the center of it to kind of hide my boo-boo. I'm not real fond of this because you have to use print that is small enough that it's going to show. These daisies were probably too big. So that's my suggestion. Then I thought, well, I like the green, so I'm going to make one using green and the lemon lolly that are in those daisies. Well, here's my pattern, and I'm going to explain this to you. But when I laid my papers down, again, my daisies got all covered up. They weren't really showing a lot. And so I thought, okay, they're not going to work very well either. So let's do something else. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Because by the time you get this finished, it doesn't show the pretty paper as much as I wanted it to show it. I mean, if I'm going to put time into doing something, I want to at least see the pretty paper. And then this piece would get put here and slid underneath this paper. You kind of have to pretend that this is all glued down, okay, and everything is going to shift on me. But it goes there. This one goes here. Come here, you two. I wanted to show you so that you didn't make the same mistake I did. Okay, so it's okay, but it's not what I really wanted. So I'm going to do something else with these scraps. Okay, so I had some discontinued Christmas paper just laying around, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try one using that Christmas paper because it is small print and it will work out pretty good. So what I have is I have 2 squares, and these measure 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, so they're a square, okay? And I have 2 of them. Now I started out with a 3 by 3 square, I believe, or what did I start out with here? No, a 2 3/4. All right. But what I did on a piece of grid paper was I laid my papers down and centered them the best that I could to make sure that all of my corner pieces were even, pretty much. Okay. Then I drew a pencil line around there. So now I have a pattern to make sure that I have my corners pretty much even. Okay, you might have to adjust it a little bit. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to put adhesive in the middle of this one, and I'm going to lay it down. So get you a piece of grid paper, cut you 2 squares, and you can use any size square that you want, but the bigger the square, the more little squares you're going to need to cover it. Come on now, get with the program here. Okay. So then I cut 8 1 1/4 inch squares. I believe these are 1 1/4. They might be 1 inch. No, 1 1/4. So I have 8 of them. I have 4 of one pattern and then 4 of the other pattern on the back side. So I knew that they would coordinate. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start laying these down. Now on the very first one, you do not want to glue the bottom piece because you have to slide up that last square into that. So I'm going to just go from here around to there. And I'm going to match that up, make sure that I've done it right. I'm going to leave a little border around, and this is cherry cobbler. And we're going to come in with the next pattern. Because I had somebody ask me when I taught this at a class, well, how do you get them so even? Well, this is an easy way that you can get them even by using that little grid. And then you want to kind of make sure that all your little points are matching in the center. So here's this one. We're going to go with this pattern again. This, I think, would be really pretty if you did it with gold. This happened to be all aglow, I think, last year. It's one of my favorite Christmas papers from last year. I still have lots of it. Go with our next pattern. So if you're wanting to use up all your pretty pattern papers, you could make several of these and no 2 of them are going to look alike. Okay, I'm doing pretty good at keeping all my centers together too. I hadn't done that on my previous one. And I'm just putting a little bit of glue, and you can hear I'm going to have to fill my glue bottle up here. But everywhere there's a point with your paper is where you want to put your square at. So that's kind of easy to remember how to do that, because you're just kind of matching up your squares with those points. This one is turning out like so easy compared to the one that I tried to do earlier, which I'm really glad, because I'd rather mess up when I'm by myself than when I'm live or recorded. All right, so that one I'm going to move up just a hair. Now here's our last one, and remember I told you that it has to go underneath this one. So where is here's my little tool. going to lift that one up because this is the one that I need to lift up. And I probably put too much glue down at on the sides of it. So I'm lifting it up here so that I can tuck in my last one. Okay, so here is my last one, and I have to tuck this one in all the way up. This is the hardest part about this card, is just this last, I don't know what I did with my, I don't know where my silicone mat went. We're going to pick this up a little bit more. I probably should have just done, ooh, that's hot. That was under your computer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oops. I probably should have just done the top on this one and then glued it down when I got it done. So here is our, come on now, Betsy, you can do this. You just kind of work at it and be patient when you're working at this. And then you can come in and you can then you'll glue down that last one. Okay. So there is our little quilt star. I have got sticky glue all over me. All right. So, because this is the card that you're going to be commenting to win, let's dress this up a little bit. Okay. So what I have is a piece of Very Vanilla, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we're going to burnish that down real good. Okay. And we are going to attach this right here over to the right hand or left hand side. And we're going to stamp in Cherry Cobbler, when I can find my ink pad. And we're going to stamp 'Tis the Season right over here.
Realize that's a Very Vanilla backdrop, right?
Yes.
Card base?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Because the background on these, there's Very Vanilla in this paper.
I was just making sure you weren't putting it on.
This one?
Yeah.
No, that's the inside. So 'Tis the Season is going to go right down here in the right-hand corner. I did not make one of these prior to this. I just cut the pieces, and it's just all in my head, right? All right. These sequins are also discontinued. I figured let's just use discontinued scraps, right? And we're going to put one of these sequins right in the center of our star here. It's all sticky. I have to clean that one off. So we're going to use one of these sequins here, and we're just going to put that right in the center. Okay. Then we're going to add a couple more of our flat sequins. And so we'll add one over here. And let's see, let's add another one down here. Okay, so there's the front of our card. And like I said, you could dress it up more if you wanted to. You could take some of the Simply Elegant trim. And you could take the gold. Come on. And you could put it, kind of wrap it and make those, that loopy, whatever they call it, things. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't have enough. Let's change this up. Let's do it twice. Some people can make this look so easy. Not me. All right, and we're going to put this down here like this. Let's see how this looks, and then we're going to put this so that that is not coming the right way. Needed a little bit more. Let's do this. I'm going to put a little bit of sticky tape here on the back of this. And I'm going to start just doing some loops. So it's just kind of sticking to that adhesive on the back. And then it'll lay down. It'll lay down for us.
I always have hard time with loops.
I do too, and I don't have really enough to do 3 loops, so we're just going to do it with 1, and that'll still be all right. Okay, so now we're going to cut this off a little bit more so it doesn't hang out. I'm going to use my double-sided tape again, and a trick to do this is you can tape down your, probably got too much there. Taping that down will help it stay in place. You're not going to take the backing off of it, but it does help to keep it stationary until you have it placed on your card. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to put this down, and I would suggest only putting adhesive on the top square, because the bottom square, so here's the bottom square, here's the top square, which is, if it's turned over, it's the opposite. The bottom square, when you flip it over, is not the same height as your top one. So the tape isn't really going to stick. Okay, there's a gap. All right, so here is our star. Not very straight. Come on, lift up for me. There we go, just a tad. There we go. How pretty is that? I like it. Okay, for the inside of it, because the Very Vanilla is not the thick, I have got a greeting that says, "Hoping your Christmas shines bright with the love of family and friends." And this is from a set that carried over last year. That is the brightest glow. So this set did carry over from last year's catalog, and so it's got a lot of nice holiday greetings in it. So I'm going to stamp our inside with the greeting. And leave a little bit of room so that if you like to write notes and you win the cards, you've got room to write a note. I'm going to add a piece of the paper that matches the front, and I'm going to use the little lines. That's just going to get glued right down on the bottom of this. Even though I'm showing you this with discontinued paper, you can use any paper at all for this card. Just make sure that when you're making your little pinwheel pattern here, that you use small pattern paper, okay? Because the larger the pattern, you lose that in the way it's put together, okay? And so I am going to now put this on a piece of cherry cobbler. And if I had been smart, I could have probably did a die cut out of the center of my card base, and I wouldn't have wasted it. But hey, it's just card base, right? All right, and I'm just going to add this and center that on there like so. And then this is going to go on the inside of our card. What a pretty Christmas card. There is so many pretty papers now in the mini catalog for Christmas. Oh my. And some of it does have very small print to it. I am anxious, and I think I might make some cards like this because they're not hard, and you can get quite a few of them done in no time. So there is another Christmas card, because we all know Christmas is right around the corner. I don't have a countdown yet for Christmas, but I'm sure that it's getting close. So let me bring in the examples that we did today. So here is the card we did today, along with the bookmark pocket card. Another way to use up your scraps. The little star-shaped here quilt pattern, that uses up your scraps. The bookmark uses up scraps. Fun ideas for kids and adults alike. So there's those two. And then here are my two cards that I did with the pinwheel and the bookmark. And then here's the other two bookmarks that I made using scrap material. So leave a comment, ladies. Sorry I wasn't able to be live with you tonight. I am hoping next week. I don't have anything in the evening. I only have this meeting once a month. So just once a month on the fourth Thursday, you will be watching me recorded instead of live. Y'all have a great weekend, and I will see you back next week. Bye.